Having clarity on your finances is without a doubt a critical component of a healthy and vibrant retirement.
If you don't have clarity, there's constant worry, stress, anxiety, and the feeling of being helpless.
We hear from clients all the time that say they don't think they have enough money to retire. Now, that's not something we can help them or you with, but
One of the tools we use to help us is New Retirement. We call it their dashboard and calculator tool. We always know what our financial picture looks like, and it's all on one screen.
it's really a great tool, and it has built into it, I think, 15 calculators that help us with major life decisions like when should we take Social Security? How is downsizing actually going to help our financial picture?
So we are excited to bring you the founder and CEO of this product, Stephen Chen, to learn more about how this might be helpful to you.
Hey, Steve, thanks so much for being on with us today. I want to start with rehashing the story you gave about your mom. And we really want to be thankful to your mom for her asking you and your brother quite a few years ago. She was in her early 60s and she was thinking about retiring. And she asked you and your brother if you'd lend her $10,000. And of course you said yes. But then you said, Mom, let's meet and find out really what's happening. And you tried to find her a financial planner. You tried to help her with some decisions. And you and your brother ended up creating a spreadsheet, which ultimately gave her the inspiration to start this company, New Retirement, back in 2015.
Yep.
So like many people, your mom spent her whole life building wealth, and now she's at this stage that you refer to as decumulation, which, we love that word.
We definitely love that word. And I wanted to start by asking you to talk a little bit more about decumulation. I don't know that it's a word that's in everyone's vernacular day to day.
Sure. Yeah. I think, if you zoom out a bit, most folks are thinking about accumulating assets, right? Building wealth, right? We're kind of taught, hey, save money. I mean, if we're lucky, we're taught this, right? Save money and hopefully invest, right? And build wealth over time. And there's not really a clear answer about how much is enough. And I think that's partly because the financial services industry, if you will, is compensated based on people having more money, right? Or buying products. And it's also not always transparent for many folks, right? It's not, it's kind of hidden the way healthcare costs were hidden before. So the reality is that people need to kind of think about their money across their full life cycle. And, the purpose of saving money is to do things with it, right? So take vacations, buy houses, pay for kids, stuff like that, or pay for retirement. And the hard thing about retirement is that you're trying to solve for many unknown things. Like, I don't know how long I'm going to live. What's inflation going to do? What are markets going to do? I'm no longer likely working, or I'm only working part-time. So I really have to be careful about these assets that I built, and how do I use those efficiently and hedge out those big risks. And so that's decumulation, is like thinking about how you use those assets to pay for the rest of your life, but solve for those kind of challenging problems that unfortunately everybody faces.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much unknown, right? It's if you've got a house and you got the mortgage paid off and you and your spouse live there and your kids are nearby, you kind of have a pretty good sense of where things might go. But like you said, you never do know. And there's always this fear of, God, I don't want to take a vacation. I don't want to spend the money here. I don't want to do that. How does your product help people with this decumulation process? I know you can get a snapshot of where you're at, but
Sure.
give us some ideas on some of the tools in there and how it works.
Yeah. So the kinds of things that our audience is thinking about, it's like, for many people, it's like, okay, how long should I work? Right. Like, and when I stop working, it's a huge decision for folks because they've been spending their whole lives mostly, surviving from the income that they're getting from working, and then and building assets, and they have to start drawing those down. So they're thinking about, how long should I work? Should I work part-time afterwards for some period of time? When should I claim Social Security, and why? And how does that, as you get more nuance there's considerations for not just you, but your spouse is a big thing people have to think about, because especially for the high income earner, your spouse's benefit is indexed to, what your benefit is. And then it's like, how do I draw my assets down, and what order, so that I can manage things like sequence of return risk, which is like, where's the volatility? Like what happens if the market really tanks in the first few years? Does that really mess up my plan? And also from a tax efficiency perspective, should I take money from my taxable first, then tax deferred like a 401k, and then tax exempt like a Roth, and or should I move my assets between those pools to try and reduce my lifetime taxes, which is another strategy. These are some more advanced things people get into, but these considerations, if you have money, which most of our users do, they want to shepherd it carefully, can have a big, impact on the outcome. And then I think the last bit is, if they're planning to leave, an estate or a bequest to their family, can they try to dial that in and shepherd that?
I also think the over time piece of the platform, right? So we've gotten in, we've used the platform. We have 6 kids. We're advocating the platform to each of them early, right? Yeah. But I think the over time piece, because a lot of us, I was corporate America for 35 years, from day one, I started, saving for retirement, right? So it was ingrained in me to accumulate. Yep. Right. So accumulate not as much stuff and things as wealth and portfolios and things like that. But then if you have the opportunity to retire before your accumulated wealth actually is available to you, you do have a gap.
Yep.
And I think what's cool about the product is you can actually see what that looks like you were saying, based on tax returns and which assets are, which accounts to liquidate at different times in your life. Because even being a savvy financial planned person, I retired at 53 and a lot of my stuff is set for me not to touch until, I'm 65.
Yeah. Congratulations, by the way. Good job planning.
Thank you.
And saving.
Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. So this is what, our users are, Mark, to your question, and Jody, for your example, like they're definitely thinking about running different scenarios. So for instance, well, most people are like, I should work till I'm 65, right? And then I'll claim Social Security at whatever age, that's kind of like, for many people, they don't think about it that deeply, but there can be situations where, oh, what if I retire at 53, and then does doing that actually could create a tax window where you have lower income and you could start, most people build wealth in 401k IRAs, right? And these tax deferred vehicles, which are great if you've been making money and saving, you've been saving on taxes as you've been doing it. But then there's something called RMDs, which I'm sure you're aware of, but required minimum distributions that kick in. And at 70, the government says, okay, you're going to have to start taking this money out so that I can, and it's going to be recognized not as capital gains, but as income, and then taxed at income tax rates. And that RMD rate escalates over time. So later on in your life, it could be like you're taking out 20, 25% of your entire portfolio later. That can create a massive tax hit for people. And people also don't know what taxes are going to be like in the future. So for many, the big strategy is like, let's move some of this money from qualified into Roth, which is much more tax efficient, earlier and at lower marginal tax rates, kind of filling up their marginal tax rates. And then the Roth has these great benefits of it's never taxed again. It can also go to your heirs really in a very tax efficient way. So strategies like that are people are playing around, modeling different, creating plans, but then creating scenarios about what if they do different things.
And you don't have to be a multimillionaire or have tens of millions of dollars to have these tools at your fingertips when you're using the new retirement platform. I think that is a big benefit to our, subscribers and our video group.
Our subscribers probably range, because they leave a lot of comments. We chat with them. They've got $1 million or less. Some have 5 million, some have 10, but it's a broad range. Is there a typical client size that your portfolio is made up of?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think partly because of the name, and we started with kind of this decumulation phase, we have attracted, I would say, a mass affluent audience. So a lot of our users, we have a free version and a paid version. So a lot of the free versions, they're kind of around $1 million, 500,000 to $1 million. And the paid folks are closer to a couple $1 million. They bias, they're kind of 50 to 50-ish, 60, early 60s. They really think they're in this real transition where it's like, okay, I got to think deeply about this. Many of them have financial advisors, but many of them are also DIY or validators. Like they just want to get a second opinion, and they're in there to try and get educated, get a better
Right.
sense of control, kind of see what they
Yeah.
can learn on their own.
How many users do you have on your platform at this point? Do you disclose that, or do you know? I'm
Yeah, I
sure.
mean, so yeah, we've had 300,000 people build financial plans over
Wow.
time, right? But we have about 50,000 active users, and then a subset of those folks are paying subscribers. So across the 50,000, we have a mix of free and paid, and it is pivoting. More people are shifting to upgrade and try the paid version because it's more powerful. And I think, I mean, essentially our pricing is like $120 a year, $10 a month, right? It's a couple cups of coffee, and like one data point is like the median benefit, tax efficiency benefit that our users get from using this is over $100,000. So
Wow.
there's serious value in learning about your money and what's possible, and that's like, so that you can make some small changes and have much better outcomes. So I think that's the argument for trying a platform like ours. But yeah, we're committed to this idea of free planning. So as well, so it's like we want everyone to have a plan. So
Right.
Well, we're gonna jump into the highlights of your product in a minute, but we want to let our listeners know that we do have a link below for access to the free program or the 14-day trial. This is an affiliate link, so if you end up deciding to buy it, we get a small commission, which we use to certainly support our channel. It starts off with this dashboard that I think is what really helps people better understand what's happening, because without it, they've got envelopes of this and papers of that. But if they connect everything to their bank accounts, I know they can put it in manually too.
Right.
But we do it for ourselves. It gives us all of our assets, all of the value of our real estate, the income that we're getting now, all of our expenses. And it just gives us like some comfort in knowing what we have, what's coming in and what's going out. Is there
And we're two people that have a full-blown financial planner,
Yeah.
and we still do it.
with the big book?
And we get the big book.
We get the big book every year. It weighs 50 pounds, and it's over there in the cabinet. We never open it.
But I mean, honestly, adults are much better visual learners anyway. And I think that's one of the real benefits of the dashboard.
Yeah. So do you find that your users put information in manually, or that they connect to their bank accounts? And also, could you just touch on security? Because that's something people freak out about when they start connecting their bank accounts.
Yeah, so we started it with people just being able to enter it manually, and we did that on purpose. So there are like other solutions like Personal Capital, where before you do anything, you have to link your accounts, and then the whole idea is that they're basically selling to you to sell full advice solutions. That's why that, we said, hey, we're going to be different. We're going to be more like TurboTax, which is, you're doing something that you should be doing, right? Building a financial plan, and you're going to pay for it if you want the advanced version. You can also do it for free. But we wanted to make the entry as low risk and low friction as possible. So we said, all right, you can just start. Registering is not your name. It's only an email and a password, right? And then we have two-factor authentication as well.
That's
you
good.
can punch in like a rough scenario and get a rough idea without really disclosing much about yourself. And then, you kind of we build trust and credibility. When people use the tool, they can, there's a lot here. There's videos, there's classes. There's other people in the community. I can learn with them. And then I think they see, this is done in a different way. And the model is transparent. We're like, look, it's free and then paid. And that's it. And we're not selling anything else. There's nothing else here. We don't manage assets. You can have a third-party advisor if you want. Go for it. Just like you do, Mark and Jody. So that's where we started. And then we said, people do want to automate this, so let's let them link accounts. So if you want to do that and you're comfortable, you can link accounts, and that's done with our partner Plaid, which powers a lot of fintechs. They have their own security. Like the credentials are actually this is always evolving in terms of like how these custodians and banks and stuff they basically allow you to like see but not change. So you can kind of get the information. So it's up to the user if they're comfortable with that. And then in terms of our own security, we have invested a lot. We've passed something called SOC 2 Type 2, which is really like a process that says, hey, internally you're running strong security. And we also serve big enterprises. So the thing about our business is that we started as a consumer business and we still run it. And we treat that as like one example of what's possibly built on our platform. We're building a platform, not a tool so much. This same platform is being rolled out to like one of the top 5 plan sponsors out there, RTX, like Raytheon. So their employees can now use it. So we also work with Nationwide as a big insurance company. So we have to pass their security and compliance rules, which are very rigorous. They take this stuff super seriously. So I think that should give people some comfort that, yeah, we invest heavily. But like, with all things financial, there is risk out there. There are people trying to do stuff. So if you want to just do it manually and keep it pretty abstract, no problem. You still get a pretty good idea about what's happening.
Well, the thing that we love about this product is we help folks integrate themselves into retirement, and we do nothing financial. We do physical wellness, mental wellness, relationships, spouse partner relationship, and wisdom sharing. So this is a product that we believe will continue to help our subscribers and our listeners to get a handle on their finances, because we don't.
Well, they're big life decisions, right? Like downsizing, and you can run a model, moving to a no income tax state, you can run a model, so
when to take Social Security,
right.
Withdrawals of your 401k and investment accounts, all of that is tools inside of your platform, isn't it?
Yep, 100%. Yeah, and I think that like you're bringing up a great point, and also, Mark, to your father's story, like we think about helping people with their money, but also controlling your money and having a sense of confidence and visibility to what's happening gives you more control over your time, right? So like the biggest decision is like, should I work? So many people, like, how long should I work? And so many people have this one more year thing where they're like, I'm not sure. I'm making a lot of money right now. I'm in my 50s. Like, Jody probably obviously had a super duper career. And, if you worked one more year, it's a lot of money,
Yeah.
and less time you have to rely on your savings. But, time is our scarcest resource. And, I think a lot of people, they over optimize for like, well, I want to make sure I have enough money from when I'm like 95 or 100, but the fact is at 95 or 100, no matter how fit we are and like everything we do, it's like, hey, you're not living necessarily the same way you're living in your 50s or 60s or 70s, right? And so that time trade-off is a big deal. I think also, like, I applaud you for what you're doing, like purpose, wellness, mental health, physical wealth, friends, relationships, like that's what it's all about. It's not about having $5 million.
I mean, we're having a blast. We really are really enjoying retirement. We love the business that we're in, helping out. We love talking to you today. I think that our subscribers really should take a look at your product. Click the link, and I think you'll be amazed at the tool. But we have one last question for you. I want you to think into the future for a minute and just imagine yourself. You're 90 years old. You're probably retired, maybe, but you're sitting in a chair reflecting on your life. What is your greatest accomplishment in life as you sit there at the age of 90 thinking back?
That's a great question. I would say, we have this vision that, so, with the Vanguard story, right? And what Jack Bogle did, he changed the whole industry, right? He single-handedly, by being committed to this idea of indexing and low fees and aligning himself with his end users, changed financial services by bringing transparency to fees and driving investment fees down across the industry. The guy has done, and other people have said this, like Warren Buffett has said, the person who's done single-handedly more than anyone else to kind of help the common investor is Jack Bogle. So look, we're obviously, that guy's like a hero, and like, we're not going to be just like him. But I do think that if we can bring financial literacy, wellness, control through simple tooling to, essentially we do envision like anyone, right, in the US and worldwide, like should be able to make progress and get educated and get this sense of control. That will be a meaningful thing. We know we have to go with partners. So the reason we're an enterprise company versus strictly consumer is that, like with Nationwide, we serve 2 million people. Wow. RTX, 250,000 people. It is going through partners, bringing these kinds of tools to them. So, and like yourself, to their audiences, let them help educate the communities they work in. So that's how if we can make small steps towards that, I think we'll have done something meaningful. And we do think about this. It's like, what is that thing? And that's like powers my life and our team's
That's
life.
great.
So good question.
That's awesome.
One follow-up, will you still be riding your e-mountain bike at the age of 90?
Definitely the e-bike for sure.
Probably with two motors, right?
Yeah. This was great, Steve. Thanks so much for your time. We really loved hearing about it, and I hope that our subscribers really enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, well, Mark and Jody, really appreciate the time and the opportunity to be here. And yeah, great questions. And yeah, we can repost it in our channel as well. So it'll be good.
Awesome.
Cool. All right.
That'd be
Okay.
great.
Talk to you soon.